you might be attracted to certain type of woman, but like you said, you might have to end up rubbing the genie out of the bottle because you can't get what you really want, but the need is still there. So they might really be attracted to men like that mostly, but they'll still go ahead and deal with some other dude because they don't have access to the men they want. They can't hold a conversation with that type of guy. They can't interest that guy.
Like, yeah. Now, as far as like giving game to men that's out there just playing the field, that's a whole different ball game right there. You got to
Oh
pull, you
yeah.
got to pull. That's a whole different ball game. But can't nobody give you game about your woman but you. You the only one that knows her, unless another nigga knows her. And at that point, you got a whole different problem on your hands. But should nobody be able to give you more game on your woman than you? Like, especially you been with her for years. You know your woman. You know what makes her tick. And if you ain't ticking the boxes, that's something you doing something wrong. And that
But
pass.
so, but Sweeney, so remember when I was talking about the phase where you learn about women? It's men who didn't go through that phase. So what if they just don't, because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So what if they just clueless as to really, like, they know what they know about their women, but it's things that they haven't even thought of exploring and trying, but because they lack, back to the initial thing about the communication, because they lack the ability to communicate and try and just poke and figure things out, they might stay in the box where they like, all right, well, I know she allows this. I don't want to be judged, so I'm not going to talk to her about XYZ. But with the level I was talking about of the communication, y'all can get past that, and then y'all can really get into whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because you can openly, honestly communicate like, hey, I want to try this XYZ. Ooh. Some men don't feel comfortable bringing that up, whatever that thing may be.
I was gonna say life has a way of straightening men out. Life straightens us out real quick, whether it's with women, employment, the world. It has a way. Like you learn women because you have no choice but to. Otherwise, you don't get women, or you're no longer, or you're not successful with. Like, think about it this way: there are some men who can get women in a short term, who can bag women left and right, but they can't keep them. I.e., they don't stick around long, and then they sit there and they got to have an introspective conversation with themselves, like, "Dang, man, why don't these women stick around? Like, I can get them for the moment, I can knock them down, but when it comes down to it, when it's time to get serious, and when I'm trying to do something, they don't rock with me. The only thing you can do is have a conversation with those women, or or go out and seek advice. That's where you do. There's nothing wrong with seeking advice. You know what I mean? But how I look at it is that when you're talking about dealing with somebody that you've been with, even an unexperienced man is experienced with the woman that he's with. You may be inexperienced with women in general, but you know that woman you've been laying next to for the last 10 years. And if you don't know her, there's seriously something wrong because you have no choice but to learn her.
No, Sweeney, I think you might be speaking from a privileged perspective, bro. Because I don't know how long you were single for, but have you ever had a woman tell you like, "Oh, my ex man, he didn't do XYZ like this," and praising you in comparison? You know what I'm saying? And those dudes theoretically should know, but they didn't.
They don't.
Yeah,
and they never got to the convo.
Yeah, but then again, life has a way. Like, okay, so he may have lost her in that moment, but then he goes off and find him another woman who may be completely different from that woman, and he checks all her boxes. He didn't check all the boxes of this woman, but he checked all her boxes, and their relationship lasts a little bit longer, and you kind of learn her and this, that, and the third. Like, if you have to be, a lot of people need to just approach relationships with that open mind of understanding the person that they with. And as long as you go in doing that, it shouldn't be that hard to learn the person you with, especially as time goes on. But like what a lot of people do is they can do for the short term, and then they get out the game or they go on and move on to the next one. And for for this woman, you may have been the magic stick, and you may have been a perfect guy. But for the woman in the past, they thought you was a dog. And shit, life has a way of teaching you that. You just learn women as you go. Either you're gonna learn women for short-term pleasure, or you're gonna learn women for
short-term pleasure. I mean, something like that. Sweeney, man, let's go respect the women, Sweeney. Let's just not just be in and out like that, Sweeney.
Because I know there's one guy who said that he's a professional bachelor. And he knows everything on how he can pull a woman any day of the week. and everything. And he just knows how to go out. He knows all the right places to go, all the right things to say to him, and everything else. But he's not good for relationships.
Marcus, I
Relationships
know what
is
you're
skill.
saying a little bit with that because I have some women who are friends, and I use their input. Although people say women friends are invaluable, I say you're wrong because I use a lot of their feedback to help coach men. In all honesty, because when you have females who are friends that have no emotional investment in that manner, right? It's not romantic. Then they really don't care about what they tell you. So you get a lot of information about what men are doing wrong. And I use that information for no longer my advantage, but at least men that I help, I use it to their advantage. Like, listen, this is what you do. This is how you do this. You get that feedback and you can go ahead and pass that on to somebody else. Because I'm telling you, there's some dudes out here who just have no clue, right? They never learned. They don't know how to learn. They didn't have male positive figures. We got to understand that, unfortunately, the majority of us are being raised by single parent households. We don't have that male figure to teach us certain things. And if we don't have anybody to pull our coats and tell us, hey, this is how you do this. This is what you're doing wrong. If they don't know how to interact with women. There's a lot of men that are well into their 30s, 40s who are still very awkward, right? Probably never watch any adult films or nothing. Don't know what's going on. They don't know how to please a woman, right? And they may have limited relationships because they're so awkward. Their experiences are less, and they don't know how to be open with the woman because they're awkward. So you can't get that feedback. So I could understand what you're saying with that. And I've definitely been behind. Pause. I've been behind some of the dudes. Pause. Who weren't performing, and you can tell just from the female's reaction, like that they have not experienced anything like that. So you kind of know where you stand. Pause.
I think proof of that is like, so you'll talk about like everybody who dealt with women like in the past, right? While they was dating. We all know it's a way you know what I'm saying, you work your number where everything goes smooth so you don't talk yourself out of having sex. The amount of men I see on here that I know they talking themselves out of having sex is why I'm posing that question. Because I'm like, bro, if you act this way in real life, there is no way you get anything to go your way. It's all gonna go bad. It's like that shit all gonna go bad. Like if I like back in the day, you take your homie on a mission, I could not bring you on a 2-man ever. Like you would fuck the whole play up. Whole player.
It's
You
crazy
can't make everybody a wingman.
No. I think time hurts a lot of men too. Because I'm gonna be real with you. If I was single right now, after if I was to get a divorce tomorrow, bro, I wouldn't know how to interact with women today, bro. I would be lost. Lost. How do they? What makes them tick? What am I supposed to be? What places I'm supposed to? Because I don't know none of that shit anymore. Because I do family shit. Like, me and my wife, we still go out and shit, but what a single man, I couldn't advise a single man to do on how to do anything when it comes to dealing with women today because time has passed me by. All the shit and y'all got to remember, me and my wife got together when I was in college, junior year. And we all know college, I don't count college as far as that because there's a lot of women that will tell you they done slept with some dudes they wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole today. So all that shit that worked for me in college when I was broke and dusty and was walking around with black Air Force Ones and all that shit, and I was still able to get them back then, that shit ain't working today. I wouldn't know how to talk to women today. And a lot of men probably come out of that too, where they come out of relationships that they've been in for 8, 9, 10, 15 years or been married for 20 years and they get a divorce, and that's why they wind up being socially awkward when they come out and trying to deal with women today because a lot of women have changed over time. The women that are today that operate today don't operate the same way that women operate 20 years ago.